guess I struggled with this over the last few weeks. Pastor asked me to do this, and I said yes. And then reality kind of sunk in and really realized what he asked me to do. I felt like I needed to put some thought into it, and I think I have. I also felt like it needed to have some sort of structure and a beginning, a middle, and an end, but actually a current, because there's not an end yet. So I was baptized Lutheran, but I never remember going to church as a child. I don't know why. My brothers would say that they remembered going, and they heard stories that Dad had a falling out with the pastor. Really don't know, but I never remember going to church as a child. I think I was about 8 or 9, and I spent a lot of time with my grandmother at the county fair. She had a booth, a photo booth, and she also had stuff in the exhibits and stuff like that. So my brothers would help her at the booth, and I got to wander off a little bit on my own. It wasn't very far. There was a story house, a little traveling story house that looked like a playhouse. It was fantastic. It had the little clock out front that said what time the stories were. So I went there every chance I could. And the man that would tell the stories, I don't think he was a pastor or anything, but he would tell biblical stories. It was wonderful to hear them. They were picture books, but there weren't any words, so he would just tell the story. And at the end, he asked all of the children, if you've never asked Jesus into your heart before, we could do that now. So he would pray with us. And at the end, I remember him holding his hands up. And he would say that Jesus said, I will never leave you. And he would go backwards. I will never leave you, emphasizing the never. And I don't think at the time that I really felt that it impacted me until later in life. Remembering that story fondly, I wish I could go back to the story house and thank that guy, but it impacted me. And then I still never went to church after that either. But through my teenage years, a lot of teenagers go through rebellion stages. I went through one. Differently than most, it was due to some very intense family issues, and I felt very betrayed, and I hated the world, and I shut myself off from family and everything for a long time. I met my husband in high school. We dated my junior year, and I followed him to California after graduation. He was in the Navy. We got married. He grew up Catholic, but it wasn't strict Catholic. I remember the phrase cafeteria Catholic, pick and choose. That's kind of the way he grew up a little bit. But I didn't have a religious background, so I said, okay, then let's try that. So we went to Catholic Mass on base, off and on for a long time, and we just never felt like we belonged anywhere. It never clicked with us. We would go for a while, and then we would stop going, and we would get to know the priest, which we kind of thought wasn't a very good thing, because when we weren't in church, he noticed, and he would give us the daggers. I'm like, okay, I don't like this feeling. So we really didn't go for a long time after that. And then after we had children, I really felt that pull to figure out what it is we are going to be and be it. I want off this roller coaster. Let's figure this out. And again, we tried another Catholic church from where we were up in Washington. Really wasn't feeling it. He was away on a deployment, and I told him, okay, the kids were little. I was like, I want to figure this out. I was baptized Lutheran. Let's start there. It's like, okay, you go ahead, and I'll just try it out when I come home. So we lucked out. We found a really great church. We found a fantastic Lutheran church. We were there for several years until the Navy said, okay, you have to move. We went to Chula Vista. We were there for two and a half years, I think. It took me, we went to like 7 or 8 churches before we found one that fit. And we went to all kinds of churches. None of these really fit. So we found one that fit. It worked. We went there for a couple of years, and then we came here. It took me a while. It took me a while to settle in and figure out, okay, do I want to go through that? Because I remembered the grueling going to several churches, and I was like, I don't think I want to do that. But Chad was getting ready to go to training, to go over to Afghanistan, and I recognized the fact that I need something besides just me and the kids, taking them to school. I need more. I need something. So I said, okay, I'm going to find a church. And I looked up on the internet and found New Hope, and I called and talked to Pastor Craig, and he was fantastic and invited the kids and I to Easter, the picnic. So this Easter will be a year for us, be our anniversary. But I feel at home here. I wish I could take you all with us when we move, which can't happen. Chad will retire in about a year and 4 months, and we'll be moving back to Washington State. We're going home to our hometown, and a lot of people would think, okay, that would be great. You can go back to your home church. I don't have a home church. I have the church that I was baptized in, but I never remember going there, so I don't know anything about it. I did look up online the other day, and there's, I think, 5 or 6 Lutheran churches in the area, so we get to go to all of those and figure out which one works, because I can't pack you guys with me, which is very sad. But that's kind of it in a nutshell, I think. I think everybody is still growing in their faith, and I'm sure I'm typical with everybody else. You still have questions, and it's growing, whatever makes you feel safe and at home, I think. That's a good question. Whatever I can. I am a very huge crafter of all kinds. You name it, I've probably done it or still do it. Crocheting was my first passion, and I would sit with my grandmother for hours and crochet. I was about 7, she said, when I started crocheting with her. So that was I do. I teach card making and scrapbooking, so that keeps me busy when the kids are at school. Elizabeth is 11. I think I told them a minute ago that she's 11 going on 25. She and I are so much alike. We kind of butt heads a little bit, but it's a good thing. My son, Eric, is 10. He is a very easygoing kid. He loves talking. You get him talking and you'll wish you hadn't. He gets that from his dad. He was telling us actually just a little while ago that he had the nickname, his name is Chad, and everybody would call him Chatterbox. Mm-hmm. Yes. During, no, because I was mad, like I said, I was mad at the world, and I didn't want to listen to anybody, especially my family. Now it's helping because I know that I wasn't alone at the time. And I mean, I said that I went through a rebellious period. I'm very thankful that it didn't get out of hand, because I could have easily gone off the deep end, and I'm so glad that I didn't. Maybe he was there helping me along, telling me that, okay, yes, you're going through a rough period, you need to do some things on your own, but let's not go that far. Mhm. It's a very good question. I think I asked myself that a lot to try to help narrow it down, and I couldn't really pinpoint it. We tried lots of different churches when we were in Chula Vista. Like I said, we went to like 8 or 9 of them, and they were completely a huge scale of churches that you can find and go to, and one of them was very, it was like going to a concert. It was a huge stage, and it was a huge production. And of course, they had bouncy houses and all kinds of stuff for the kids. And I'm like, this doesn't feel quite what I need. It may work for the people that were there, and that's terrific, but it didn't feel right to us. Of course, the kids liked the jumpy house stuff, but I'm like, okay. When I asked them what you liked about the church, that was the first thing they said. I'm like, well, that's not what I want you to get out of that. So I think that we felt more comfortable in a smaller community where we know people, where we can connect and have those friendships and relationships. And when you're feeling sad and alone, when I have a lot, especially with my husband being gone and deployed a lot, I need those connections, and I recognize that I need that. So finding a church that is very welcoming. I mean, it was the first thing I walked through these doors. I had so many people welcoming me, smiling faces. It was fantastic.
Does it maybe help that at all? I mean, here you're more on your own.
Here, yeah, we're really isolated. Yeah, we did live in base housing for quite a while. My husband's been in the Navy for 21 years. He'll be 22 years in July. We'll retire next summer of 2015. He'll have 23 years in with the Navy. So they do have a lot of support systems depending on where you are. Over the years, I've been, with the Navy Wives Clubs and all that kind of stuff. So that was great, before we had the kids. It gave me something. Not as much. Like I had mentioned, they have base chapel where you can go to services and stuff, and they have a different, I think they had Catholic and non-denominational and stuff like that. But like I said, we never really felt like we connected.
It seems to me that, even though you kind of grew up quite differently, you and Chad, that
Mm-hmm.
you have a spiritual connection. And not every marriage has that.
Yeah. Right.
Or at least, someone of this match.
Yeah.
Not in a negative way, but you both have the same spiritual rhythm.
Yeah.
My wife goes to sleep at 8:30 and gets up till 2.
Yeah.
Spiritually speaking. You seem to have that. Did that
I
happen?
do.
Was that just the luck of the draw?
I
Or was
think-
that developed because you
I
guys
think a
were
little bit of
close
both.
to each other?
I think a little bit of both. We don't really pray together, and it's just a kind of I don't know how to word it. It's just kind of there.
So there's just a match.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you both seem to have
He's very
some
open.
experience, though. I mean, because you know the Bible fairly well. He seems to have a pretty articulate
Mm.
spiritual needs where maybe in general,
Yeah.
maybe that's just part of it, but
Yeah.
he seems to be able to
I think he
articulate
picks
what
up
he
on it better than I do. I really don't know my Bible. Don't test me.
thinks.
I'm learning.
Yeah, but you well use one.
Yes. But I'm learning. That's right. We all are. We never stop. Not here. I have in the past, networking groups, and those have been really great, but I don't here. Yeah, Eric's at Lupin Hill Elementary and Elizabeth's in middle school at E, right? Not as much as I used to. When they were both in elementary, I volunteered a lot in class. As they've gotten older, they kind of seem that they don't want me there in class as much. So, yeah. Oh, in 8, you're right. Yeah, no. Middle school is like, yeah, that's all done with. So, I don't think she wants me there anyway. Yeah. I mean, they still have them a little bit, but not so much in middle school.
Elizabeth's in confirmation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she's in confirmation. She's doing really well with that, and I really wanted her to have that foundation, because I didn't have that either. It's going to be challenging when we move and find a new church for her to finish confirmation with. Good, good.
They always say the sixth grade girls rock, they always know everything. Eighth grade boys.
I think a little bit. I think it has forced Elizabeth to a little bit. It's affected her the most. Eric is a very laid-back, easygoing kid. He struggled a little bit at first making some friends, but it's like a water off a duck's back with him. But Elizabeth takes it to heart a little bit more, and leaving her friends, and she's very dramatic, making new friends, and right now they're both very looking forward to moving back to our hometown. They didn't live there, but they have cousins and aunts and uncles there, so they're looking forward to that. They're very sad that they'll leave their friends here, but having done it before, they know that they can do it again. At least that's what I keep telling them. Yeah, we've been very thankful actually with the Navy not moving as much as a lot of our military friends have. So being in one area, we were in San Diego for 9 years and then moved and had right when we had Elizabeth, and then we were in Washington for 7 years. So that was yeah. She was born there, Eric was born there, and then we had to move. So within the last 4 years is when we've had the quick turnaround. So that was a little harder for them, and Dad being gone a lot, and we're all done with that. We're ready for him to retire.
They work at the gym.
I know.
The Tuesday morning folks know what Chad does, but that's for the Navy. But it's something that you might find, if you don't know, it's sort of unexpected.
Yeah, because it's not very big. This isn't a very big military town right here. There's a few basics, but they're kind of off. He actually works in Hollywood.
Naval base,
Yeah. Could be.
Lake Lindero, we have the fleet out there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a public affairs officer, and he's working in the Hollywood office right now. So any of the movies that you see that have things to do with military, they don't have to go through this office, but if they want an accurate show or movie, they really should go through this office. Don't get Chad started on that. But he is a liaison between the film crews and the movie and the Navy, getting them on bases, getting them on ships, getting them the shots and things that they need. Next week, he's actually going down to San Diego for the week to go on a destroyer or something so they can film big boom stuff. Guns, I don't know what they're doing, but yes. Yeah, my son's very excited to hear the stories of, the guns and things that he's going to witness. That was very interesting. He hasn't served on that kind of ship before, so Chad said that he's looking forward to it not being attached to that ship, so he doesn't have duty. He just gets to go and enjoy the ship. So. Right. The Navy? That just really kind of fell in our laps. He was a public affairs officer. We were looking for new orders because they were just, coming up, and this just kind of fell in his lap to go to this particular one because it's not very popular. I mean, it's a very specific office, so that just kind of fell in our laps. He's gotten to meet a lot of really neat people, so pretty cool. Go on set and he's met Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise, and I'm like, so when do I get to go? When do I get to meet these people?